What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fenrir Arms YouTube channel. My name is Leif and I run a small FFL in northeastern Nevada, and occasionally people bring in or purchase things that I wouldn't normally purchase or see. Everybody has their own unique taste, and I thought that it would be cool to go over some of the things that come through the shop, even some of the things that maybe I own, and kind of give it an overview. I'm not necessarily trying to be a reviewer. I don't have the skill set or the mindset to do that, but I thought it'd be cool to go over, and I have a bunch of notes here, kind of 10 categories of things that I subjectively and objectively believe that certain firearms should adhere to, whether it be rifle or pistol. Today we're doing a pistol. So I had a customer come through and wanted some work done on a certain gun, which you'll probably know in the title and thumbnail and probably any shooting footage that comes in at the beginning. But he brought in an FN 5.7 MRD Mark III, the new stuff, right? And I was like, hey, that'd be cool to kind of sit down and do like an overview of, because maybe somebody else is wanting to spend the money on something like this, and they can see kind of a regular guy's perspective. I'm just a regular dude doing regular things. Today, we're gonna go over the FN 5.7, which I have right here in its case. And I have 10 categories with 10 points available for each category, kind of like a so much out of 100% at the end. If anybody's ever watched Doug DeMuro, this, kind of similar to like a Doug score, but in the vein of the firearms community. So I'm gonna go through the categories in the order that they will be judged, just so that you get to see it for this first episode. And then after that, we're just gonna roll straight into stuff. So we're gonna go over in this order: packaging, accessories, features, ergonomics, trigger, capacity, value, shootability, reliability, and then just the overall vibe at the end. Because some people don't buy things for its function, they buy it more for its form and the way that it makes them feel and how cool it is. Think gold tiger stripe Desert Eagle, right? Nobody buys that because it's a good gun. We're gonna go over this today, and we're gonna start with the packaging. And the packaging for FN, now I don't have the actual box that it came in, but this is the packaging that they offer you, and it's just a nice carry bag. Handles here, zippers here. There is like a little lock loop, but as far as transportation is considered, I don't know that I would trust a lock loop or just a fabric bag in the first place, but it is nice. It is branded really well with the embroidery there. I'm going to be occasionally looking at my notes. Sorry, I don't remember everything. Inside, we have some elastics for spare mags. I don't have the spare mags here with me, but, well, spare mag, which we will get into in the accessories. But it's got that. It has like a little Velcro pocket here with what seems to be like a, I don't know if you can see that, like almost like a Kydex sheet in it. I guess it's for structure, but there's only padding on one side, on this side. This side is just, it's just hard, which I'm not sure I understand, especially spending as much money as you're spending on this gun, which we will get to in the value section. I would think they would want just like a little bit more protection, but maybe this does a good job at protecting it. I don't know. And then on this side, you have a zipper pocket with the padding, and it holds all of your optics plates, manuals. You can put your lock, all of that stuff that comes with it in there. But this is all that it comes with. And while I appreciate the effort that goes into like a nicely embroidered and branded carry bag like this, I do wish that there was hard case options for a lot of, especially these higher end firearms. The MSRP on this is not small, and you can get a Glock for literally basically a 1/3 of the MSRP, and you get a hard carry case, you get a cleaning brush, you get like, you get stuff with it that you don't get with this at almost triple the MSRP. So that's a little bit strange to me, but we'll get into that in the value section. But as far as packaging goes, it's not horrible. It's cool that you have like a little range bag you can take with you. There's enough room that you can put spare mags in, maybe like some shooting glasses, I don't know, some earplugs, keep a few spare mags in there. It's decent, but it's not what I would like to see. I would like to see like TSA approved carrying cases and things like that come with guns, especially in this price range. As far as packaging goes, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. Moving on. Okay, so getting into the accessories section. This only comes with one spare mag. And I don't know if you guys follow TGC, John Patton over at the Gun Collective, but he put out kind of a standard for pistols, and he says that they should all come with 3 mags minimum. And I agree with that as far as it is a full-size range or duty weapon. Range or duty use should definitely have at least 2 spare magazines. And again, especially for the MSRP that this is at, the fact that it only comes with 1 spare mag is almost criminal at that point. So that really sucks. I wish that it came with 2 spare mags. Now, if this was a compact or carry gun, 1 spare mag to me is completely fine, because most people most people don't even carry a spare mag in the first place. But if you do, you're not carrying more than 1 spare mag usually. Some people do, and that's cool. You should do that if that's what you want to do. But for a full-size duty and or range use gun, 2 spare mags is definitely the minimum. I agree with them there. It does come with all of the required optic plates for the most part to be able to mount whatever optics you want. And the optic system for FN isn't horrible. It is still a plate system and a universal system, and those all have their drawbacks. But overall, it's not bad. I do kind of like it. And it does come with the optics plates, which is nice. It comes with the required lock, but 1 spare mag, a couple optics plates, and a lock. If anybody's ever unboxed a Canic, which we will do coming soon, you'll see the value that you get in accessories with those compared to what you get with this, which is a very high-end handgun. Accessories are getting a 4 out of 10 for me. Okay, so the features section. Features section is actually pretty good. Probably gonna be my second highest rated. Yeah, my second highest rated so far. The shooting portion, I'm going to grade after the shooting film portion. So after the range session, we'll come back and we'll do the shooting grades and then give it the full score at the end. But this has pretty much all the features that I would want. It's optics ready. I think any gun in today's modern world should have at least an option to. Maybe not all of them are cut, but there should be an optic ready version of basically every gun from the factory from now on, in my opinion. 1913 rail, which is nice instead of the Glock style single slot rails. I like this. It's basically almost a full rail. I don't know why they didn't just go to the end with it. There's this little tiny spot there that I'm not sure what the design choice was on that, but it is there nonetheless. It's good. It does have a safety, which is ambi. I'm not a manual safety guy, but I understand some people are, so if that's your thing, it's good. A lot of people complained about where the safety was because you would think that it's here. It's actually right here, which is kind of cool. When you go to put your other hand up there, you can deactivate the safety with your offhand thumb on either side because it's ambi, so that's cool. Takedown is not ambi, but it's the takedown, so that's not a big deal. And the mag release is swappable, so if you are wrong-handed, you do have the option there. However, the slide release is not ambi at all. It does have suppressor or optic height sights, and they are loomed. Now, they're not tritium night sights, but they are loomed. So if you get, see if we can get, I don't know if that's gonna focus on it, I can't really see. Gun's empty, don't worry, I'm not pointing a loaded gun at me, chill out. They are loomed, which is nice. With optic sights, I prefer just black, but I understand people like 3 dots. Loom is cool, so it does have those for you. Another negative is no threaded barrel option at this time from the factory. There is a lot of rumors going around that it was going to have a threaded barrel option, but FN still has yet to release a threaded barrel option, and it's been 2 years since this gun was released. So kind of a missed opportunity there as far as the threaded barrel goes, but there are aftermarket options because 5.7 suppressed is sick. You can get, a nice high quality 22 suppressor like the Rugged Oculus and run it on there, no problem. I would love to shoot this suppressed, but there's no threaded barrel option. We have no interchangeable back straps, but to be completely honest with you, not needed on this gun. This grip is huge. Now I have a size medium hand. I have very small hands. I got my hands from my mom, not my dad. My medium hand, this is a
Today, Junior!
Big grip because of the nature of 5.7. It's very long, so the grips have to be a little on the more narrow and long side, which isn't horrible. I don't mind it. So you don't really need the interchangeable back straps. Even if you have large hands, you're gonna fit just fine on this gun. And the grip texture is actually really nice. I like this here is just grippy enough without digging into your hand and like tearing skin off, like the M&P 2.0 texture, which I really love. It does get a little aggressive at times, but I'm not here to complain about that. And these like ridges on the front, the ridges and checkering that's on the front and the rear of this actually do a pretty good job at like really locking you in when you grip it. I don't mind that at all. I like that it doesn't have finger grooves necessarily. There is a little bit of a ridge there, but doesn't bother me at all. All in all, the features on this, aside from not having a threaded barrel, are pretty great. I gave this a 8 out of 10. All right, so now we're gonna get into the ergos section, the ergonomics. And this is probably gonna be my lowest rated. I am not a fan of the ergonomics of this gun. I like low height over bore guns like Glocks, M&Ps. I'm not a fan of the 320s because of that, maybe some other reasons too, but because of that, and this is not a low height over bore gun. You can see the amount of frame that's showing with the barrel running up here over my hand. Not a huge fan of that, especially in a gun that's supposed to be like ultra low recoil, high velocity. I think they kind of missed the mark adding all of this extra space here, and it makes the guns, like the pointability of it, very weird. The grip angle isn't wrong on it or anything like that. Pretty sure this is the same as like a 1911 M&P series gun. So that's fine. I shoot an M&P, that's my flavor. But because of like the height of it, I have a tendency to like not line the sights up immediately when I point it, just because of how awkward this angle is with this height over bore. Very strange choice. I'm not sure why they did it. Again, I'm not an engineer. I'm just going off of what was given to me. Not a crazy fan of that. Not a fan of 5.7's grips in general. I've had a couple 5.7 guns in here in the past that I've played with, and they all are kind of the same thing. Very long and skinny, which I understand it's what you have to do, but I've never been really a fan of that because of how skinny it is. Sometimes when I grip, it will like rock the gun this way. So you really have to lock in with both hands and clamp down. Not a huge deal, you should be doing that anyway, but I've never really been a fan of that. And the slide serrations, while it does have front slide serrations, which I forgot in the features section to mention, I love front slide serrations. I'm a front cocker.
That's what she said.
So that's nice. However, they're essentially useless because this has a polymer cover on it to keep the weight down and all that, which that's fine. I totally get it. They're very hard to use, and this gun has a really stiff spring for being kind of a delayed blowback system. It gets really slippery because of the nature of this polymer. If you have any oils or sweat on your hands, you're sliding right off of it. So it does have these little tabs at the rear here. You essentially have to use these to manipulate the slide occasionally or go over the top to really grip it, which is fine, but for me, I just tore the shit out of my hand right there. For me, I like aggressive slide serration so I can really get in and manipulate the gun quickly, but I feel like I would just slide right off and end up flubbing reloads or malfunctions or anything like that, which I don't know what the reliability on this yet because we haven't shot it, but we will be testing that as much as we can. I don't have a lot of ammo. Ammo for this thing is pretty expensive, and this is not my gun, so I don't want to, oof, I really f***ed my hand up. Look at that, f***ed my hand up real bad. I don't want to put 1,000 rounds through this gun if it's not mine. So I'm gonna put a few rounds through it, enough that we can get a percentage failure rate, but it's gonna be a really low sample size, so pull the skin out of this damn thing. But ergos for me are just, they're not it. And this, I understand, is subjective. Some people are gonna really love it. Some people are gonna really hate it. I'm one of the ones that dislike it. Ergos are getting a 3 out of 10 for me. All right, so we're gonna get into the trigger now. I do believe, and I'll correct myself in post if I'm wrong, that this is a single action only gun, which explains the safety. Single action guns and safeties kind of go hand in hand. But the trigger on this is actually nice. I do like the physical trigger itself. It does have a nice shape to it where it's like flat and then hooked at the end. I like that. It does feel that it is a polymer trigger, maybe not. No, this might be a metal trigger actually. So that's kind of cool, right? I like that. Oh, This gun doesn't fire with the mag out of it. Okay, so decent amount of take up, but it's not bad at all. I mean, any Glock or any standard striker powered gun is gonna be the same, if not worse. So you got a little bit of take up, squeeze, break is very loud, very audible, right? The reset, nice and audible, pretty tactile. It's not like the craziest, but it is good. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I like the way it feels. It's really snappy and crispy, which is kind of maybe like a single action feature. So trigger is really good. I'm actually gonna do a 7.5 out of 10 on this one. Okay, so capacity is our next to cover, and the nature of 5.7 is capacity. So obviously this one's gonna get a high score. I mean, these are 20 round mags that come as standard on this. 20 round mags in a pistol is pretty cool. I mean, for 9mm, you have to use extensions and big mags and stuff like that to get anywhere near 20. So that's cool that a standard flush fit magazine is 20 rounds. So yeah, capacity is good. Again, I wish they would have included another extra mag, but aside from that, capacity is a 9 out of 10. 20 rounds as standard on a pistol is crazy. So 9 out of 10 on capacity for sure. All right, and the last one before we take it out and shoot it is going to be value. And I'm gonna be a little harsh on the value side of this because there are other options out there that I think do the same or better for way less. Ruger, now reliability aside, we're strictly speaking on what you're paying versus what you're getting. Ruger, Palmetto State Armory, TSOS I think now has a 5.7 as well, and Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson's new tempo barrel system and everything seem really cool. They have competition now. They're not the only one out there. I'll kind of plug MSRPs here. Now I have to be very careful with any values that I put on screen because YouTube is not friendly to that. But this is not any sort of a sales pitch or anything like that. It's just strictly showing value. So this is the MSRP for it. And this is the street price of what you would pay for it, because we don't pay MSRP for the most part when we go buy things. And for that price, you get, I'm gonna read it off right here. A soft bag, 1 extra mag, optics cut, a couple of ambi features, and a 1913 rail. That's it. But you're also getting not great ergos, no threaded barrel option, only 1 spare mag. I'm like, there are other things out there. Love them or hate them, Palmetto State Armory has the Rock, where you get threaded barrel, optics cut, the same or actually bigger magazines, better ergonomics, which I will get one of those in here to do another kind of overview in this style on, because the ergos are way better on that gun. Reliability and quality aside, those definitely can be debated. But I mean, look at Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson is a high quality manufacturer. The M&P series of guns have proven themselves to be amazing performers in the carry, duty, and even competition spaces. And they make one that is this price, wherever I put that on the screen, and it's optics cut, threaded barrel options. Why this much money? I don't see the value proposition there. But you do get the 5.7 things, right? High capacity, low recoil. It's got a name behind it with FN and just the 5.7 in general in video games and a lot of pop culture. All of the stigma of it being cop and armor piercing and all that stuff, which is true in certain senses, but not in the sense of civilian ownership for the most part. So I just don't see it. Looking back on the score that I gave now, I think I'm being pretty generous here. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 on the value scale, because this is triple what something like a Palmetto State Armory Rock would cost. And do you get triple the reliability, triple the features, triple the value out of it? I don't know. I don't know that I can say that. So value is slightly disappointing to me, and this is subjective to me. This is my experience with it. I don't own one, obviously. This is a customer gun, but maybe when we get to the vibe portion, it'll start to make a little bit more sense. Still got to shoot it to figure that out. But now that we've kind of gone over all of the inside things that we can go over. We're gonna head out to the range. I'm gonna modify it before we go out there because I wanna shoot it with the stuff that he chose to put on it to see how it's gonna be for him. And I just like shooting guns with dots on them. It's just what I like to do. So I'm gonna toss all the stuff on, and then we're gonna head out to the range, shoot this gun a little bit, and then come back and do the last few categories, which are again going to be shootability, reliability, and the vibe check on it. So let's head out there and then we'll see how this goes. All right, hopefully you can hear me. The wind is a little crazy at the moment, as you can see with I'm having a bad hair day. We got some FN Gunner 40 grain FMJs, and this is now what the FN looks like. Tossed a TLR 2HL and a Holosun 508T on it, per the customer's request. I have a target right here. This isn't 100% sighted in, but I slaved it to the irons, so it should be close enough. These are gonna be the first shots. Pardon my beard, but I got a target right here. We're gonna take a couple and see what this feels like. A big ass wasp right there. We're gonna take a few shots, see what this feels like. There were some people driving around behind me, so they made me a little bit nervous, but let's see what the hype about 5.7 is here. Okay, it is very snappy, but not in like a bad way snappy. Snappy like, I'm gonna sight it in a little bit while we're right here. Snappy in like rifle caliber almost, but in your hands, which is essentially what this is supposed to be, I guess. Safety. It is a little weird being up there, I will admit. So far, it's actually not bad. I can't really complain, you know? That made it worse. I never remember where to turn these. Sorry, I keep looking behind me. Somebody was out here pulling up on me when I got here, so. All right, now let's see. That's a little better. Okay, getting close, I think. Boom. Get this sighted in the rest of the way while we talk about it. It's really not bad though. I do wish, like I said before, that the height over bore was a little bit lower so that it didn't feel so top heavy. Because even with 5.7 being a gun that's supposed to, or a round, I guess I should say, that's supposed to be like ultra low recoil, it does seem like it's got more recoil than it should because of how high up the bore is over the rest of it, but shoots actually really smooth. So I'm gonna load up a couple more mags and we're just gonna go through and do a little bit of shooting, and I'm gonna get used to this a little bit. There's a 100-yard steel plate out there. We'll see if we can hit it now that I'm a little bit closer sighted in. So yeah, let's see what this has got. My target fell over, so I'm gonna be shooting steel. So we'll pocket reload. Not bad. All right, so last mag, we're gonna just kind of shoot the last few rounds and talk about the gun. We are going to finish up the video in the shop. So far, the shooting experience has been rather nice. I will admit, I was a little worried just because of the way the ergonomics were and everything like that it wasn't gonna shoot as nice as the price tag would make you believe that it's gonna shoot, but it actually shoots pretty nice. So last mag, we're just gonna kind of pop a few rounds, see if my opinion about anything changes. Trying to hit this 100-yard steel up here. So the gun is getting very hot right here. I just noticed. I had my thumb up on the slide cover a little bit. It's getting very hot. Recoil though, to be completely honest with you, not bad at all. Definitely, it's with this gun especially, it's comparable. Now don't worry, I don't have a cameraman. This is all berm, all right here around me, so I'm not flagging anybody or any buildings or anything. The recoil, because of the height over bore, is very comparable to 9mm. I think that if they got this down a little bit lower and more in line with your wrist, it would be a much better recoil situation than 9mm. I think it would feel a lot better, to be honest with you. This definitely doesn't replace 9mm though, in my opinion. It's, I don't know, it's not 9mm. It's very expensive to shoot. I don't know, I do like it though. The vibe is vibing, you know what I'm saying? I understand it, but 3 more rounds. I understand it. I understand the vibe. But again, if you, sorry about my beard. There's nothing I can do about it. It's crazy. If you just wanted the vibe of the 5.7 round, you can go about it in a much cheaper way than this gun. This gun is very expensive, and if that's all you wanted, get a PSA Rock, get a Ruger 57, get a Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7. There are options out there. But if you're just super vibey and you're like, no, I want the FN because of video games and culture and all that, then shit, go for it, man. You know, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Bam, there it is. FN 5.7. My little overview and opinion video is done. We're gonna finish the rest of the categories that we grade on. Back in the shop, I will probably be in another different change of clothes because I have to go to my actual day job right after this. So failure rate was good. The shootability was actually pretty good. I think it's gonna get a decent score in those aspects, and I think the vibe is probably gonna be a pretty decent score as well. Sorry, I'm still new to this, so if you catch me not looking at the camera, it's just me. I'm not doing the best job, so. Oh yeah, there's shooting going on over there. I can hear it now. So yeah, I'm gonna get the stuff cleaned up and then we'll meet you guys back in the shop for the end of the Ruger 50, for the end of the FN 5.7 MRD, just kind of overview video. Click. Okay, so we're back in the shop now. Did my shooting, and now we are going to do the last few categories, which were shootability, reliability, and vibe. I still have my notes here, so if you see me looking off to the side, just making sure I'm staying on track. So the shootability was better than I expected. The recoil was pretty good. I think, as I said, out on the range, that if there was a little bit less height over bore, it would have been much better. But overall, I mean, 5.7 shoots, it's a snappy round, and I don't mean snappy recoil-wise, I mean snappy as in like it just feels like it's so fast and quick out of the barrel. It's the sound that it makes is unlike almost anything else. It's a very unique experience. The returning to the sights was very quick. It was honestly really nice to shoot. I just wish that it was for what you're getting. I wish that it was a little bit lower bore height, and that the serrations on the slide were a little bit easier to manipulate, which we talked about in the features and ergonomics side of things. But overall, I mean, just shootability alone and returning to sights, whatever. All of that was really decent, actually. Better than I expected. It shot about like I don't know, maybe like a 147 grain 9mm is what it felt like. Just a little bit like snappier, you know what I'm saying? I know I keep saying that, it doesn't really make sense, but that's how it felt. So shootability, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Okay, so reliability. Reliability for me is a 1% failure rate. So if you shoot 1,000 rounds, you're allowed to have 10 failures to be at 1%, and that is the maximum that I would consider to be a reliable handgun. And reliable to my standard is for like defensive use. So full disclosure, this is not my gun, as I mentioned before. This is a customer gun, and the ammo for this is super expensive. I don't get paid for doing these videos, so it's very hard for me to shell out the money for 1,000 rounds of 5.7 to put through this over the course of a few days. So I only put 100 rounds through this. That is not enough by any stretch of the imagination. I would consider 250 rounds to be kind of the minimum to start to say that something is reliable. However, even though I only put 100 rounds through this, it was flawless. There was not a single malfunction. The spent casings ejected so far. I was picking them up from 20, 30 feet away occasionally. Like they just rocket out of there. Maybe I exaggerated, but they were really far away. But I can't give something a 10 out of 10 if I haven't put enough rounds through it to really test and see if it's going to be reliable over time. 1,000 should really be the base amount of rounds that you really test that percentage level off of, 250 being the minimum before you can really have an opinion. But out of the 100, none of them failed, and I don't see any failures happening as long as it's maintained properly after that. So I did give it a 9 out of 10 on reliability. Okay, so vibe, right? And I do have a lot of notes for vibe here because there's a lot that goes into the vibe of something, right? It's not just the way that it looks, the way that it feels. It's kind of the aura that it gives off on social media and video games and movies, and I'm flashing the light, my bad. Pop culture, sometimes negative references, right? The 5.7 has a lot of negative rap about it that people think that it's this amazing, blows through all armor, crazy round, and that's not necessarily the case. The good rounds that do stuff like that, you can't really get your hands on. With that said, even some of the full metal jacket stuff that we were shooting, it's fast and it's skinny and it does have the capability to really go through some stuff, but it's not what everybody has it hyped up to be. But this gun, you know, it has some hype. And if you're not buying a gun for concealed carry, home defense, like a real defensive situation where function of the gun matters a lot more than the form, right? Think of a Glock. A Glock is not necessarily a pretty gun, so the form of it is not really there, but the function is there. When you're not buying a gun for those reasons and you're buying a gun because you want the gun and you're just getting something that you think is cool, the vibe matters a lot, right? You know, buying a gold Desert Eagle, nobody buys that gun because they want to use it for home defense or because they want to carry it. They buy that gun because it's so cool in the grand scheme of the world between movies and video games and pop culture that it's just something that they want to have in their collection. And I think that that's what this is. This is not a gun that I would buy for home defense, concealed carry, or anything like that. Not that you shouldn't or couldn't, it's not something that I would. So the vibe really does have to matter with this because the function of it doesn't really matter as much to me. And with that said, unless you're a video game guy or you're already a gun guy, I use guy as an intersex term. Let me pull that one back. Unless you're a video game person or you are a gun person already, the 5.7 isn't really like a super well-known round or gun, right? So you have this hype surrounding the round in a lot of video games and stuff like that, and then you have the gun itself in the gun enthusiast space, if you will, that has some hype around it, especially with people who are newer and getting into it or people who are misinformed. They care about it a lot. This gun does have quite the vibe to it, right? It's an FN, so it's the original 5.7. It's not one of the other ones, which matters with the vibe, right? You want the real thing if you're gonna collect something. The 5.7 has a lot of history, like military history behind it, of why it was developed and things like that. There's a million videos about that if you want to learn. Go check those ones out. But the vibe is there. It just doesn't quite have the popularity of some other ones. Like somebody sees a gold Desert Eagle, they know exactly what that is, right? Even if they're not a gun person. If you show this to somebody, maybe the Gen 2, the previous Gen 1, if you showed them that one, unless they play like specific video games and things like that, they're not gonna know what it is. Everybody knows what Desert Eagle is, you know? So with that said, this does have quite the vibe about it, but it's not a top 10, you know, a 10 out of 10 vibe. So I gave this a 7 out of 10 on the vibe scale. All right, so I'm gonna toss all the scores up around me here so you can see each category's score. And then after adding them all up, we did achieve a 65.5 out of 100, which seems low, but I do believe that's still a D, and a D is passing. So still a passing grade overall, I would say. There were definitely some highlights, definitely some lowlights. If you're buying this gun, buy it because you think that it's cool. Buy it because you just want that specific gun, but don't buy it because you think that it's gonna do something that it's not really gonna do, you know? But overall, it is a good gun. It was very reliable. It was fun to shoot. 5.7 is super fun to shoot, especially if you can get it in some sub guns or rifles. It's crazy fun to shoot. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna continue doing this with some other guns. I already have 3 more lined up, one of which is kind of goofy, but still fun for me to do, right? We have another Fudlore Fact Checkers coming out, which did pretty well. Some people were hating on me in the comments, but a mean comment's still a comment, so I'll take the engagement, right? So please, guys, if you enjoy this or you wanna see more of this, I'm just a regular dude. I'm not out here pretending to be some crazy expert and, you know, trainer and blah, blah, blah. I do teach concealed carry at the state level for concealed carry permits and things like that. But above that, just a regular guy. I'm just a regular guy out here trying to get guns in the hands of people, get them out shooting, enjoying the hobby and understanding the Second Amendment and the way that it's supposed to be used. And I would really appreciate the support. So if you did enjoy this, leave a like. Leave a comment, even if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. Just so you're aware, I don't pay attention to the haters in the comments, so you can say whatever you want, doesn't bother me at all. And subscribe. The more subs I can get, the more likely it is that I can get ammo sponsors and things like that to be able to put more rounds through these guns and maybe even get a hold of some guns that I would never even dream of being able to get my hands on. So thank you guys so much. Again, I am Leif with Fenrir Arms. If you enjoyed it, sub, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.